Hello everybody, Intuition here. Thank you as always for making time and space for us. Today we want to share some very disheartening and sad news. And that news is, you will never be enough for anyone else. What is it that we mean when we say that? How could we say such a harmful and hurtful thing to you after all we've been through? How could we say that you will never be enough for anyone else? And we mean it, you really won't be. But you want to know who you will always be enough for? Yourself. And what in God's green earth, what in your green earth are we talking about? When we say that you will never be enough for anybody else, that is under the guise and understanding that nobody really knows who the hell they are to begin with. And if you don't know who the hell you are to begin with, then you definitely don't know what it is that you're needing and what it is that you're wanting from one thing to another. So if you don't know what it is that you need, what you want, or who you are to begin with, how do you think that you could be enough for anyone else, or even sometimes enough for yourself? Now, if everybody else around you knew who it is that they are, including yourself, if you knew who you were, and they knew who they were, and they knew what their needs were, and what it is that they wanted in their life, then maybe there's a potentiality that you could be enough for somebody, and they could be enough for you. But we assure you that that is such a rare thing to find in this world. Somebody who really, truly knows themselves. Somebody who's waded through the traumas, triggers, nightmares of their lives. Somebody who's really asked themselves, what's the difference between my belief system and my knowing system? Somebody who has really taken the time to figure their shit out. That, my dear, is so rare, as I'm sure you know. So therefore, this idea that you could be enough for somebody else is ludicrous, truly, honestly, existentially crazy. Because why would you ever want to be enough for anybody else, even if that was a possibility and that could be true for you? Because to be enough for somebody else means that you would have to know them potentially better than they know themselves. And because in that scenario that you know them better than they know themselves, then therefore you would still not be enough, because they wouldn't even know your value and what it is that you're providing to them for them to actually realize that you are more than enough. You're doing too much, actually. You're doing enough for them and you. You might as well be dating yourself at that point. You might as well just be in a relationship with you, whether it is a platonic or a romantic relationship. Just do you. However, you will always, always, always be enough for yourself. Because you are the only one who knows what your needs are, you are the only one who knows how to get them met, and you are the only one that will actually do it the right way, the correct way, every single time, if you take the time to know what it is that you're needing, that is. So, you will always be enough for yourself, and when you finally do figure out what it is that your needs are, and how to get them met, on some level, you won't need to be enough for anyone else, because you are more than enough for yourself. And therefore, as you are more than enough for yourself, anybody else in your life is just complimentary. And you doing anything for anybody in their life is a compliment to them in their life, because you don't need to do it. It is not doing it out of people-pleasing or a sick need. And I don't know what it is that my needs are, and when I meet your need, I feel as though my needs are getting met, which a lot of us do. When we do not know ourselves and what it is that our own unique needs are, we live vicariously through giving to others what it is that we believe their needs are, but it is never enough for them, and it is never enough for you. So, we will say it again. You will never be enough for anybody else. Why would you want to be enough for somebody else? Wouldn't you rather be enough for yourself? And funnily enough, the paradox is, again, when you are enough for yourself, you really don't need anybody else. And you don't want anybody else, because you are enough. And the only people that you would want to have around you are people that also are enough within themselves not to try and take from you. Because that's what happens when you are not enough, because you do not know who you are, and you don't know what your needs are, and therefore you do not know how to get your needs met. You end up trying to give what you think to somebody that they need and get upset because that's not what they're needing and they didn't ask for it to begin with, but then you're upset because the audacity that they don't appreciate what it is that they did not ask for. Why don't they need me? Why aren't they seeing my value even though they didn't ask to see my value, even though they didn't ask me to do this damn thing to begin with, but they should appreciate it, damn it. Why? You're not even doing it from the right place. Because if you were doing it from the right place, you wouldn't need to do that crazy shit to begin with. You'd be enough within yourself and to know that your needs are met intrinsically always because you know yourself and you know how to get your own needs met. And therefore you won't be going out of your way to try to help other people that didn't ask for your help, didn't ask for you to meet their needs to begin with. Now, if they ask you for help, that's a different situation. But most people are just going out of their way, soundlessly, wordlessly. Nobody has asked you to do anything, and yet there you are with your Superman cape on. Nobody wants it. Nobody really wants to be saved. Because they could save themselves. Truly, honestly, think about it. Why the hell does anybody want you to save them? That is why every time you come around with your cape, everybody gets pissed off. Because you're doing for them what it is that they can do for themselves. And maybe you've groomed them to want that. Or maybe they've groomed you into thinking that that's what they want. But nobody really wants that. Nobody wants to take a shit and have you wipe their ass when they're perfectly capable of wiping their own ass. It's gross. Truly, honestly, nobody wants it. Nobody wants you to sit down and chew their food for them and spit it out and regurgitate it and put it in their mouth like they're a baby bird. Nobody wants it when they have teeth in their head and they could chew themselves. Nobody wants it. So why would you think that somebody wants you going around meeting their needs? Meet your own damn needs. Please do us all a favor. Figure your own shit out. Figure out who you are. Figure out how to get your own needs met. Because when you do that, this world becomes a better place because you're not imposing yourself on everybody else who you feel is needy. You create more need, enabling the needy. That doesn't mean go out and help people. That doesn't mean assist in the ways that you can, but please make sure you are fed first before you feed somebody else. Make sure that somebody's asking first before you just start offering that in which nobody asked you to give, because then you get upset. So, you will never be enough for anybody else, and even if you could be, why would you want that? Be enough for yourself. That is more than enough. Anything else is too much. You could be enough for yourself, and they could be enough for themselves, and then there are two whole people in the room. Imagine that. Instead of two halves of one person trying to come together to meet somebody else's needs. Two whole people in a room make one hell of a happy room. But two halves of a person trying to make one person makes one confusing person and one confusing world. And that is part of this confusing world that we're living in. Everybody is trying to meet everybody else's needs and not knowing they themselves have needs. And because they're spending so much time meeting everybody else's needs, they have no time to spend on themselves, the most invaluable individual in the room. So, be individualistic, be selfish. You do have a self, so therefore you do get to be selfish. If you are disembodied, then maybe don't be selfish. But you have a self, you are a living, breathing person, or in the very least, you are pretending to be a human being in this life. So, might as well tend to that self that you have before you start giving selflessly to others. It is not good to be too much of a giver. Kindness does kill from time to time, and usually it doesn't kill the person that you're giving to, it kills you. Kindness kills the overgiver. So, as always, we simply offer our train of thought for you to think about, to detect, to discern whether that is helpful to you or not. As always, we thank you for making time and space for us. And we wish you well on being enough for yourself, potentially for the very first time in your life.